So 4 basic techniques. They're up on the board. We're going to paint on these 12 by 12 squares of paper, and the scrap paper is just to dry off the brush on. And in fact, we'll mostly be painting with this, which is like a sumi-e brush, Japanese, cheapo one, not really good one, but it's got a lot of control, nice for line work and other things. There's these little cheapy, these are called chip brushes. This is more to wet the paper than it is to paint with. You're welcome to do anything you want. I mean, don't throw paint on your neighbor if they look tough. Don't upset them. And let me just run through. Dry and to dry is the first technique. And that means, the main thing I want to emphasize is the ink has got such powerful tinting strength. I always mix it with water. So I'm giving you a little cup of ink. First thing I do is I gray it a little bit. And then the better paintings always have many shades of gray, many pale grays mixed in with richer grays. Since I'm doing dry and to dry, I will use this bigger brush. And all this means is a dry brush. There, I've got some pigment on it. And then I'm going to dry it off. Make a dry brush. I've already got a piece of dry paper. And then here's one thing I'll say over and over again, which is we want to get the desk dirty. We want to have a good painting, not a clean desk, unlike all the other art teachers you ever had. So my brush stroke always starts on the desk and through, on the desk, through, on the desk, through. And then when I need to reload, dry off, get the brush dry again, approximately the same. And rhythmical, no margin, of course, we don't like margins. So there's something in common with the frottage process. No margin, no gesture. Also, please don't be wimps when you're painting. Don't be like little fussy. You don't paint with your fingers. You don't paint like this. You don't even draw like that. It's like fingers, wrist, elbow, shoulder, maybe the whole body, so that a stroke, let me get something more. I'm just saying, like, you know, this is my brush stroke. It's like, it might be, ooh. Don't do that. I'm getting hate mail already about messing up the art classroom. So, but big, you know. And if you really want to make a big splattering mess, you can paint in one of the sinks, that's fine. So that's my dry and to dry. The other thing is, if you don't know this, the brush also has fingers and a shoulder. The fingers is what we dip. And the shoulder does not get wet. The shoulder maintains stiffness and control. So these are cheap brushes, but in a fine brush, ooh, I just, like a brush like this, like no artist would do that. It's destructive. And a fine sable watercolor brush can be $400. So no. The pigment goes on the fingers of the brush because that's how you get lots of control, which is what we want. And then what's the next one is dry into wet. So I'm gonna, you could use this brush to wet the paper, but I'm just gonna wet the paper. I don't need a brush. I'm just gonna, I have some other, this is dry brush into wet. Yeah, dry into wet. So I got the wet paper. Later I'll paint one with paper that's been soaking for 10 minutes, which is different than this will be. And then I'm going to do the same. Now I'm going to use the sumi-e brush. I'm going to get this in less than 10 minutes, so I'll go on YouTube. Dry brush, right? So I dry off my brush. I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm going to do again, I'm not using just my fingertips, and I'm scuffing the surface like a plane doing touch and go landing. Great metaphor. Nice, fun. If it's really dripping with black ink, that's when I put the white tablecloth plastic thing down. If it's not dripping so much, we can lay stuff around here. Next one is wet into dry, really simple. I think I just get my sumi-e brush properly loaded with gray. And then whatever game I play with one painting, one game per painting. So my game is just going to be this. It's got a real aesthetic. It's doing a spatter this direction, but not the other direction. Fun. I could do that whack spatter thing, maybe away from the neighbors. These tables aren't too well arranged for that. And then I could also do, this brush is called a pounce brush, and then the pounce brush stroke, I love it because it's like stabbing. So I'm not saying that you have to do everything like Impressionist painters out in the landscape in France, so we could look at that. It's great. Now the last one is Wet in the Wet, my favorite. This has been soaking for about 8 minutes. I'm doing Wet into Wet. I don't know what I'm going to do. Oh, I know what I'll do. This is one time I'll take a lot of pure ink, almost pure black ink. I'm going to hit one edge, and I'm going to paint with gravity. Magic. So, see? All we're doing is experimenting. We're being like, play, serious play, whatever happens, fine. If a piece turns out, if we tear it, if it's obvious garbage, let's not worry about throwing stuff away until after class. We'll let them dry off. We'll take most of them home with us. The main thing is to get variety, get a sense of this medium. Next week we'll paint with it some more. There's cups, so you just need a big brush and a little brush and a cup of water. You already got the ink. And just dive in and see what happens.